Hi, my name's Rich Litvin. I wrote a book called The Prosperous Coach. Been coaching high performers for years. Love to coach. It's the thing that makes me feel most alive. And I'm here with, it looks like two of my friends, actually three of my friends. Behind that box that says Rich Litvin team is Sarah, who's an integral part of my team. And Sarah will be here on the chat and in the background for those of you who are here live with us and be able to answer your questions. And then I'm here with two other people who are friends and part of my life. Christopher Maher, who is Christopher's one of my coaches, as well as being a member of my community of high-performing coaches called 4PC. Christopher, I'll say a couple of words about each of you guys, and then you can say anything I missed. So Christopher is a former Navy SEAL, trained originally for the Olympics, an athlete who put his body through the most intense experiences as a high performer and ended up almost destroying his body in the process. And had then spent the last decade, at least, I think, putting his body back together and now using his gifts at knowing how to be in his body and help others to be in their body and come from that space. Christopher, what did I miss? What did I get wrong about who you are?
All those were pretty accurate. I have the focus for me for the last 18 years has been helping people get back into their bodies and their energy so that they could express who they are authentically. And it's really transformed into me understanding that the message that I'm bringing to the planet, called here to do, is to help people eliminate and dismantle the lifetime accumulated stress loads that keep them from reaching their potential.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. I remember last time, Shelley, when we heard Christopher say that, lifetime accumulated stress. That's great. And that really, that's why you coach me, because I do a lot of work that's up here and you get me down here. Yeah. So I'm glad you're here with us. You're coming here to play full out, to let be coached. Some of the best coaches, actually, I'd say, in order to be one of the best coaches on the planet, you have to be coachable. And 100%. And all of us play that way. And then also here is my friend Shelley, and Shelley's a member of 4PC2, our community of really high performers. And Shelley's former job title was as Chief Marketing Officer of Harley Davidson. And she then said, I need time out from a lifetime of career in the corporate world at the highest of levels with fascinating organizations. I need what we traditionally call a sabbatical, time out, but more than a sabbatical, something to let her soul rest. So I'll let you tell the story from here. Who else are you, Shelley? What did I miss?
Thank you, Rich. Hi, everyone. When I left Harley, I knew that there was like a gnawing in my soul that I wasn't being true to myself. And it was time for me to stop living somebody else's dream and to go on my own journey and discover what is my calling, what is my higher purpose. And so I went on what I called my soulbatical, which is now also my mission and purpose on the planet through that journey, which was over physical lands and spiritual planes and all kinds of beautiful people in my path. I found my true higher calling as a coach, both a life and leadership coach, helping people to kind of go through the same journey I've been on to find your soul's true purpose and live to that potential. So that's my message, and that's what I'm doing today, 2 years later.
I love it. And both of you speak to what I love. The sweet spot for my company is taking people who've been leaders out in the world, whether you're a former Navy SEAL or the Chief Marketing Officer of Harley Davidson. And then you understand that one of the most powerful leadership tools on the planet is coaching. And it's what you do in your own unique ways. And so, hi, I see all the chat going on in the background. I'm not going to stay in the chat today and have a look at what you guys are saying, but it's flashing up on my screen. What I'll do is set the context for today. So we're doing a series of 5 webinars. Some will have people on live like this. Some will be me teaching or sharing stories, doing an Ask Me Anything. But the series is called a created life, because most people don't live a created life. They live a reported on life. My boss is tough and demanding. I hate my job. The economy is the worst. It's the worst time ever in the economy. And we show up in this way of having life happen to us. And then there are some rare people who create their life, who say, life is what I choose to make of it. And that's the game we're going to play today. I've got a track record for over a decade of working with clients, doing things that once looked impossible. And I love spending time with people who already have a track record of doing things that look impossible. So today, the first webinar is called Rock the Rest of 2018. What if you could make the rest of this year extraordinary? For many people, they peak halfway through the year, it gets to the summer, we get tired, and then we see the way through to slowing down and coasting by the end of the year. And I'm from the UK, but in the US where I live now, Thanksgiving happens, what month is that, you guys? November. Thanksgiving is November, but then there's Halloween in October, and September everyone's going back to school, and this long, slow slide into resting and relaxing and taking time off. And at the end of at the start of the next year, it's this, such hard work to get going again. So what I love to do is help people really create a powerful end to the year. Not that you can't rest, that's really important to this, but a really powerful end to rock the end of the year, to ramp up into the next year in a really fun way. So I don't know what we're going to talk about today. I don't know where we're going to go, but that's the intention for today, to have real fun on this session, getting you guys to create an extraordinary 3 or 4 months ahead of you. So let's play. Christopher, what would make today an amazing session for you? What would have this be an amazing conversation?
An amazing conversation would be, for me, being as authentic as possible and discovering some aspect of my reality that's begging for transformation or understanding.
Huh. So let's bring it down a level of abstraction and make it real. Let's say that happens. Yeah. Let's say you're fully authentic, this level of transformation begins to come in.
Yes.
In 3 years' time, you and I are talking, and we look back and we laugh. Do you remember that webinar we did? We were talking on camera because Christopher and I were together yesterday physically in the same room, and we'll be together this afternoon. But do you remember there was that 3 years ago, we had that couple of days we were working together, but in the middle we did this webinar, and something happened on that call. There was an insight that you had, or a shift that occurred, that now as we're looking back 3 years later, that was the thing that shifted everything. What was that?
I think for me, it will be being open to receive whatever's coming in, rather than, okay, so if we're being honest, my tendency is to be a bit of a lone wolf, so I've been, one of the things that I learned in the SEAL teams, and they don't verbally tell you how to do this, but it's just something that's understood, is that we get the job done. I've been so focused on getting the job done that when I left the SEAL teams, I left the sense of team. And I moved out into the world, and I made everything happen in my life and created my life the way that I wanted to, yet I haven't left enough room or space until recently to let other people come in to assist me. So if I could walk away from this conversation with taking an action to get myself an assistant to help me, I think 3 years from now, I'll be looking back a really happy person that I actually took the action to make that happen. The idea was swirling around the last time we had a conversation, it came up, I still haven't taken action on it. So if I take action on finding a great assistant for me, somebody like you suggested is the opposite to me, that's gonna kind of push my buttons a little bit, I think that will be beneficial not only for me, but for every single person that I work with and that I impact 1,000-fold.
Thank you for going there. For a couple of things. One of my clients was James Butler. James passed away last year. James was a Navy SEAL. Sorry, he was a Navy bomb disposal expert, and he served in Afghanistan. and he died tragically last year, had a brain aneurysm at 28. But one of the things that James used to say to me is that he actually loved being in 4PC because he had this sense of community again. Because he said, when we were in Afghanistan, we'd go into a building and I had such trust in my brothers. There was such, I could count on them and they can count on me, and there was nothing that needed to be said. And I felt that in you, the other side of that side of being a lone wolf, that's knowing you can get the job done, but there's a missing in your world right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And coming into 4PC has been really wonderful in that sense, because, you know, all the people are high performers. They're willing to do whatever it takes in order to show up fully and produce and be present to what's asking to come forward. And those are the type of people that I want to surround myself with.
I noticed when you said a few moments before, back in the days of being in the Navy SEALs, we get the job done. Shelley, I saw you nodding. Because you don't have to be in the Navy SEALs to know that energy of like, I get it done no matter what, right, Shelley?
Yeah.
Yes, I know that well.
And how about the other side, Shelley? Because again, that this is something I hear a lot from the people I work with. I'm not lonely, but I feel very alone.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly how I felt in my executive job. I mean, I always thought it was a cliche when, you know, these really high paid people at the top of the ranks, you know, said, oh, it's lonely at top. I thought, bullshit, that's crazy. And it's lonely at the top. And I didn't know who my true advisors were. I felt like I had lost that sense of community. And you asked me why I came into 4PC so quickly. And I said, I know what I'm capable of doing, but I want to be surrounded by a community, people who are helping me, guiding me, holding me, coaching me along the way, so that I do this right and I don't burn myself out again. And I bring my gift truly to the world. So I love it. It feels great already.
So some of the time I'm going to talk to you guys. Sometimes I'm going to talk directly to those of you who are watching us right now. So I'm going to pretend that those two are not listening to me in this moment. This is one of the things that you see as you work with your clients more and more. Listen carefully for the commonalities, the themes in the kind of people you love to work with. Because what will help you to get the kind of clients you love is not looking for a demographic. Like I work with women in transition, or I work with men who are building their business. That's a demographic. The psychographic is understanding the mindsets of the people you work with. And one of the mindsets I hear a lot from the kind of people I love to work with the most is, I'm not lonely, but I feel very alone. So I wanted to speak to that because I'm hearing its presence here. So I'll come back to you now, Christopher, and then I'll come to you fully, Shelley. So let's go into the future. Because you were here looking at the future. If we had a great call today, then in 3 years, I'd be telling you I'd hired an assistant. I want to go here and then look back. So let's imagine it's 2021, is that right? Yeah, 2021. And the three of us got on a call to say, hey, let's catch up. Like, you remember that thing we did 3 years back? So now from this place looking back, Christopher, what's going on in your world in the year 2021?
I'm building a retreat center for stress relief in a beautiful place in the world, which I love, which is San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. I bought some land down there and really developing some amazing programs for people to fly in and really de-stress and de-tense and detox and de-distort and get back into their authentic selves.
And what about that is the most amazing part of that in this moment? Remember, we're here, it's 2021. Is it built yet, or are you starting to build it? Or did you buy somebody else's place and take it over?
No, the land is bought and it's in the process of being built.
Nice.
Yeah, the resources are there, and that for me will be so exciting, like literally so exciting. To know that I can go to a respite, a place that I love in the world, and share that time and space with all these other amazing people.
Now, I remember 3 years ago in 2018, every 2 weeks you would fly from the West Coast to the East Coast because you've got clients on both coasts.
Yep.
Are you still doing that? Now it's 2021.
I still doing that in 2021. No. No, that's not happening.
What's happening instead? What feels exciting?
What's happening is I'm going out there once a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because for me, the people that I work with for a long time. It's we build a relationship. It's a little different than they come in, I work with them for a few times, and then they're gone. They go off out into the world and make a really great life for themselves. We build a really solid relationship. And for me, the relationships are the most important thing. So I still have a relationship with all the people that I work with on the East Coast. I just now have some time to spend down in San Miguel de Allende, building and developing the project down there.
And here we are, it's 2021. We've jumped on this call again. It looks like we haven't aged at all, the three of us. It's amazing. Again, I'm taking you back into the past now. That conversation we had. Now, I remember the first thing you had was this insight that you become a lone wolf. You know how to get the job done, but hadn't been letting others in. What was the insight you got on that call beyond it's time for an assistant? You already knew that.
I think the insight is a step past that, and it's that I need to hire a business partner. Yeah. Okay. I need to partner with someone who is a badass, sees a big vision, and wants to make it happen. Okay. And is reliable and responsible and devoted to something bigger than themselves.
I love it. So, Shelley, do you notice what happens? As I take Christopher into the future and have him turn around, he knows precisely what he did 3 years ago, because the future is created and we create it in every moment. And if he stands here and looks into the future, it's, I need an assistant. He goes to the future and looks back, it's bigger than that. There's a partner in here that has me create something amazing.
Yeah.
So I'll pause with you for a second, Christopher, and I'll come back to you. Hey, Shelley.
Hello, Rich.
Let's play the same game, because it's a great question to go out into the future. If we are speaking and it's the year 2021 and the three of us are just here and you hear Christopher sharing about the retreat center that's really coming into reality right now. What are you doing now that is different to 3 years back?
I'm probably spending most of my time at Christopher's retreat center. No, in all seriousness, my business is in its infancy right now, and I believe really big things can happen in the next year. So, or in the next, year and next 3 years. I have a vision that a substantial part of my business is also around retreats, not necessarily a physical space. I'm sorry?
I'm going to pause you because you're in 2018 still. And into the future of these are the possibilities.
Yeah.
Let's go right into the future. It's 2021. We just jumped on this call. Hey, Shelley. Wow. Haven't seen you for a while. Remember 3 years ago, we said we'd do this, and here we are. The three of us are doing it. We're getting on this call and we're sharing what's life like? What are you up to now? What are you doing? What are you creating? What makes your blood sing right now? 2021.
I'm as joyous as I've ever been. I finally published my first book. That was a labor of love and a long endeavor.
What's the title?
It's Soulbatical. We'll call it that for now. Actually, what I really want to call it is Soulbatical, the business of living, because I believe I had been in the past living business, and now I want to shift entirely to the business of living and bring that message to other people.
Love it. That's an awesome title, The Business of Living. Great.
Thank
so
you.
The book's come out. What else is
the book's come out. It's a big success. It helped me gain more followership. And 4 times a year, I'm hosting Soulbatical retreats. One of my dreams, I think you and I talked about it 3 years ago, has always been to take people, you know, like-minded spirits who feel that same gnawing of neglect in their soul, who really want to explore who they are deep down, who they're meant to be and what their purpose and what their message is on this planet, and really get edgy in these adventures we take 4 times a year. And so we're doing that. And I'm able to take people to some of my favorite places in the world. And for me, it fulfills this kind of beautiful sweet spot of coaching and connection and adventure or travel. All 3 of them are things that I love and I've always been passionate about my whole life. And I feel like only over the past 3 years have those things all sort of come together and connected to make really my dream life a reality. And beyond that, my coaching practice is it's like yours, Rich. Finally, it's referral and recommendation only, and it's beautiful.
Nice. I really felt you the most when you shared about these 3 things: coaching, adventure, and travel. These 3 things together, and I just had this sense of where they overlap. In the middle is you and your heart singing.
Yeah, it took me until probably a few weeks ago to actually say, I am soulbatical. And it was a really powerful moment for me. And it came from a conversation with Christopher and a conversation with another friend of mine. And I felt it. And I don't know why I had never uttered those words, because of course I'm soulbatical. I gave birth to this concept, this idea. I've lived it for these years. And now that's my message to the world. And to say that, it all of a sudden freed me up to say, well, then who am I really? Because who I am really is what soulbatical is. And I was able to tie more of those pieces together.
So let me have you look back 3 years to 2018. If you remember that call, why did you even get on there in the first place? In this moment, you sound so on fire. You're at the overlap of these 3 things you love. There's a book with an amazing title that's come out. Why did you even need coaching back then? Why did you say yes to coming on that call? Because I invited you and you didn't have to say yes.
Oh, I was a hell yes back then. I'm still a hell yes talking to you today. I came on the call because I wanted to do this right. And really, when I say do this right, like set up this business. I remember you and I having a conversation where we talked about needing to slow down to speed up. It's one of your famous and favorite phrases that really resonated with me, because for me, it's been about, I know how to, as Christopher said, get it done, get it done, get it done. But to do this right, set the right foundation, surround myself with the right tribe and community of people, make sure I'm inviting in the 10 clients, the dream clients, and building my business that way versus rushing in and saying yes to everything that's coming my way. So for me, that call was all about how do I get that focus to continue the momentum I have in the early stages of my business.
So I think if I remember correctly, when you told me that back in 2018 on that first call, it stirred my thinking. And there was a tool that I introduced to you both in that moment that I found really powerful for whatever's coming next. So let's come back out of the future and into 2018, and I'll tell you about that tool. And you've heard me talk about this concept before. It comes from a man called Derek Sivers. That's where I learned it from. It's this concept of hell yes versus hell no. And if it's not a hell yes, you have to call it a hell no. I found that powerful in making business decisions, in working out if I'm going to partner with somebody. I was even in a store once and I picked up these 2 shirts, and one I just thought, I want this. And the other one, is the lighting right? Maybe I should look outside. I'll buy it and I'll show Monique and see if she likes it. I can always take it back. I thought, what am I doing? It's not a hell yes. I'm going to put the shirt back. So hell yes versus hell no is a very powerful distinction. But the tool has another word in the mix. And this is the word that sucks the energy out of us. It's the word maybe. So our lives are full of 3 things: hell yeses, hell nos, and maybes. So if you're watching and you took to do this too, grab a sheet of paper and you want to draw 2 lines down this sheet of paper. So you've got 3 columns. It's very simple. And on the left-hand side, the column is called hell yes. And on the right-hand side, the column is called hell no. So hell yes on the left, hell no on the right. And in the center comes the word maybe. Because this is our life. It's full of hell yeses, hell no's, and maybes. And what I have my clients do when we use this exercise is think about everything that's going on in their world. All the projects that they're up to, the tasks that they have, their to-do list, and put everything on this list. Sometimes I see the questions flash up. Is Derek Sivers, S-I-V-E-R-S. I'm trying not to pay attention to them, but sometimes they catch my eye. He wrote a great little business book, sold a business in the music business for $20 million and gave most of it to charity. Great guy to follow. So hell yes or hell no, and maybe. You put all the things that you're doing onto this list. And then you begin to see what your world looks like. Sometimes I'll find clients whose the list of hell yeses is enormous. They realize they've said yes to so many things. Sometimes the maybe list is huge, and maybes are insidious. Maybes are yeah, let's get together and have a meeting and talk about that, because I don't want to upset my friend. I don't really want to do something with them, but I never know where it will go. And we fill up our life with maybes. And our job is to take as much as possible to the hell no list. Now, there's another phrase you can use that's less scary than hell no. And it's no for now. And no for now allows me to breathe a little bit. No for now gives me a little bit of space. I'd said yes to doing something with somebody this December. They'd asked me if I'd help with a project that they're running in a city that I'll be going to visit in December. And it seemed like a no-brainer. It would be 2 hours of my time. Why wouldn't I say yes? And then I realized that I had to start communicating with them by email. So I was going back and forth on emails. And then I realized I had to bring my team members in. And it was taking hours of my time and therefore costing me money in order to just give 2 hours to her. And I like to be generous. I wanted to give 2 hours to her. But this was already draining me of energy. This was a maybe. And I had to turn the maybe into a no. And that's hard. I'd said yes to her, and it hadn't been a full-on yes. So I got back to her, and I said, I realized I'm overcommitted. And I don't want to go down the road with you and discover that I have to pull back at the last minute, or I'm frustrated and I'll do it anyway. And I pulled back, and we stayed on great terms. We just swapped messages about this. So what are you up to right now that is on your maybe list? Let's start there. If I was working with you for an hour, I'd have you spend 20 minutes writing this out. But have a think, both of you, for a moment. What's on the maybe list right now? Christopher, is there anything on the maybe list that comes up as I talk about this?
On the maybe list, on the maybe list. Going to homecoming. I went to a boarding school growing up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, Milton Hershey School. And there's a celebration every September. We get together for 4 days. And my brother asked me 4 days ago, am I going to come to homecoming? And I said, well, maybe. And the truth is, it's a hell no. I'm not going to homecoming. I need to make that distinction now and call him. Because I want to rock the rest of 2018. And the people who really care about me, want to relate with me, they can text me, email, or call me, and I can relate with them that way. Yet I want to really stay focused on completing the things that I'm desiring to complete.
Great.
So it's a hell no. I'm not going homecoming.
Great catch. Great catch. Sometimes it's clear because we literally say the word maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
go out on the weekend to see a movie, maybe, which means if something better doesn't come up, I'll say, and we're not willing to say no. We're going to keep our options open. We don't want to offend people. And that draws our energy out here, which means we have less energy to put into things that are really important to us.
Yeah, and mine's more, I don't want to offend people rather than keep my options open. It's, I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah. I know that one well, and I've realized over the years that I actually hurt their feelings by pretending I want to do something but not being fully in. I've got to be fully in or fully out. Hell yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the people who love me and trust me will understand because I'll speak that clearly enough. And if they don't, then they were not the people in my life who really understand me.
Yeah, those are some good life lessons to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Shelley, how about you? Anything comes up in this moment, or maybe?
I think if I'm honest, what I'm thinking right now is a lot of social engagements. So I know that sounds really generic in the way that I just expressed it, but for me, what I'm realizing, and I think it's part of the value of being part of this community and really tapping into this group of people who I feel like are on the same plane, the same vibe. We're on a shared journey together. I'm finding that a lot of people that have been in my life for a long, long time aren't. And I'm not enjoying the time quite as much. And so yet, same thing that Christopher said, like almost out of obligation or fear that, I'm feeling guilty or I'm going to make them feel bad. I'm just kind of slowly dwindling down my social engagements to those that are really, truly giving me energy, not draining me of energy. And it feels great because the rest of that time I'm using I have no less energy. In fact, I probably have more energy than I've ever had. I'm funneling that into these relationships, the connections I'm making for my business, the clients that I have in my business, giving myself white space to be creative, and sleep and exercise. And that combination is magical to me right now. But the social thing feels murky. I mean, some of the social commitments.
I hear two things going on. One, as we begin to up level, sometimes the friends and people that we love are not the right people to stay in our world as we go to the next level. It doesn't mean we love them any the less. And there's times when we move on. Sometimes I heard recently, you have friends for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that helped me to realize, some of those older friends were for a season. It was a very long season, but it was a season. And there's a time to move on that frees me and frees them. And it doesn't mean I love them any the less. And what you talked about just now brings me to the other tool that I had a feeling we might bring up today. It's the simplest tool I've ever used because you just take a piece of paper and draw a line right down the center. So draw a line down the center of a piece of paper like this. And then on the left-hand side, you write energize or energizers. Let's call it energizers. Energizers and drainers. You could just put a plus and a minus. Energizers and drainers. What are the things that energize you? What are the things that drain you of energy? So that includes projects, people, habits, and thoughts. For years in business, I haven't liked to look at the numbers because looking at the numbers drains me of energy. I thought it was the numbers that drained me of energy. I'm the big picture thinker. I like to be over the headlines. I don't want to look in the details. I get drained from that. But I realized relatively recently, this year, that it was the thought that it's the numbers that drain me of energy that was draining me. So I created a new belief. I've learned enough about limiting beliefs to know how to let go of old beliefs, but I know I have to put a new belief in its place. So I created a new belief called looking at the numbers is fun and energizing. And every time I go into a meeting now, I just had one this week last week with my CPA, my accountant, this week with my bookkeeper, I've started practicing, saying to myself, looking at the numbers is fun and energizing. Now, they're still not the most exciting meetings I ever go to, but I'm much more present and energized and attentive than ever before because I've changed a thought that drained me of energy. So if you were going to have an extraordinary 90 days, each of you would probably have to take 1 or 2, maybe 3 things off the draining you of energy list. I never understood Tai Chi. I watch these people in the park doing these really slow motions. I never understood it. And I did a Tai Chi lesson with a great teacher once, and he said, Rich, your body is constantly out of alignment, but in tiny ways. Your ankle is 1% out of alignment, which means your knee is 1% out of alignment. And then your hips are 1% out of alignment. And it all adds up. And then you add all those together, you're 15% out of alignment. It takes energy to hold your body in place out of alignment. And the Tai Chi realigns you. When you're back in alignment, you have more energy. When you have more energy, you make stuff happen. And that's exactly what this tool is. It's like the physical is what you do, Christopher, right? The physical, this is the out in the world manifestation of what happens physically when you realign somebody's body. So is there one thing that comes to mind, Shelley? A person, a habit, a thought that's draining you of energy right now?
Well, it's funny. I wrote down 3 things right off the bat. I wrote down numbers was my first one. So it seems we have yet another thing in common. I wrote down numbers, any sort of the accounting, back end, scheduling stuff. It just drains me of energy. I want, and superficial interactions. Like that's chit chat, small room stuff, just totally drains me.
So for all the coaches who are watching this tool is a tool that you can build an entire coaching practice around a single tool. If you ask your clients what their dreams are, put their dreams out on the table, and then all you did was nothing to do with those dreams. You just helped them remove the things that drain them of energy. You'd watch them create amazing things because they simply have more energy. So tell me about the numbers, Shelley. Let's get specific. What is it about the numbers that drains you of energy?
Well, I think I was thinking about the past. Like I'm so very similarly, I'm a big picture thinker. So the way my brain operates is to see patterns, put things together, connect dots that other people don't necessarily see, kind of have that vision. I think it's what I was a big part of why I was a good leader and why I was good in my career. What I was horrible at, and I'm just sort of projecting this onto this phase of life that I'm entering into, is the details and the minutia and really keeping up with the numbers. It's like they don't even stick in my head. And if I look at a spreadsheet, it's like my head immediately goes it's like that exploding head emoji. That's how I feel.
Have you done the Kolbe assessment? Kolbe?
No, I think you asked me that recently, and I have not yet.
I recommend you do Kolbe. Kolbe is a great assessment for any of you who coach leaders or people who have teams or you have your own team. It tells you how you operate in the world. I know that on the Kolbe assessment, I like headlines, not information, which is why I have people on my team who love information and less interested in the headlines. We balance each other out. And so it's not good or bad. It's just good to know yourself. I need to surround myself with people who want to be immersed in the data. I'm learning where can I look at the data and make use of it and then pull out so I don't have to stay in it. I'm the people person. I want to be here, but I'm learning I also need to be able to peek in sometimes. So it's worth having a look. I'd recommend doing Kolbe to give you some insight around how you process information. Tell me about the people who drain you of energy. What's that piece there?
So the best way that I can describe it, I'll describe it generally, and then you tell me if we want to go more specifically. But the best way I can describe it is I thrive on deeper, more soulful connections. I always have. I want to have deep conversation. I would rather understand a few people very deeply and very well and feel that kind of intimate connection than I would, buzz through a giant room of people having superficial conversation. So that's what was coming to mind when I was saying that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. I'm the guy in a party who's always standing in the corner talking to one person all night and trying to make small talk. It overwhelms me. I don't understand it. I don't know how to do it. So I totally get that. In fact, it's why I've built community the way I have. It's why I built 4PC with a group of people who want to go deep and in depth and transform themselves. It's why even at our intensives, we've got an intensive coming up here in LA in October. Our intensives are designed for people who love deep connection. We have parties too. We have fun. We have lots of fun things that we do, organized by other people on my team, not me. But I've wanted to create that, and I found that if it's not out there in the world, I can create it myself. And so how do we remove those drainers from your list?
Well, I think part of it is in what you were talking about earlier. It's sort of in the hell yes. Like, is it a hell yes or is it not? And if it's not a hell yes, I am learning how to get better at saying no, and to recognize when something is a hell no, and to listen to my body to understand what is a hell no and what is a hell yes. I think I've operated up here for a long, long time. And part of this is working with Christopher as well, like understand, like listening to my body. How do I feel when somebody, asks me something or puts a proposal in front of me or whatever? And that is feeling really good for me. It's like trusting my instinct, trusting my body, trusting my soul, really. And just doing a better job of that. I've been a really horrible boundary setter for a long, long time. And that's part of what I realized was, led to burnout, led to me going, what the hell am I doing? And how did I even get to this, amazing, role and career in corporate America? So,
well, I think often saying yes to almost every opportunity we get offered gets us here in our careers. What will get us to the next level is saying no to almost every opportunity that arises. And I think we talked about this recently, you and I, but one of the tools I found most powerful is not saying no immediately, because sometimes it's hard for me to say no immediately, is having some language I go to by default when I'm offered an opportunity. You know what? I'm going to sleep on this. I'm going to take 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to sleep on this, and then I'll get back to you. Or one of the things I found useful is to say, hey, I need to check in with my team on this, because then I can blame them. Let me check in with my team. So I have some language that I can default to that people understand. And it's not the same as me going, no, I'm not a yes to that, which can be a bit intense. And it's certainly intense on the inside for me. So having some language for you to practice when you have an opportunity would take what's draining your energy currently. It's not the opportunities being offered that are draining you of energy. It's that your default is to say yes, and you get overwhelmed with the energy of, what do I say if I'm not sure if I'm a yes, or I'll say maybe. That's what's overwhelming you, not the opportunities being offered.
Yeah, it's the people pleaser in me. It's sort of the overgiving part of me that has been there for a long, long time. I am happy to say that I've been practicing that. I think I've said since I saw you like 3 times, I've said, I'll sleep on that. Let me sleep on that and get back to you. And almost immediately, every single time, whether I closed my computer, put my phone down, whatever it was, I was like, of course I don't want to do that. Like I knew it, and I didn't know how to say it. Now I'm learning how to say it and then be diplomatic in my response. And sometimes it's exactly what you said, it's like a no for now. There might be very good reasons because I'm very serious about what I want to accomplish in the next 3 to 4 months. So it's a no for now. I've got what my focus is. I want to put like more clarity around that. That's part of what we're talking about today, but that's a big deal. And I feel like, oh my God, that's such an authentic and honest answer. And it feels so good. So thank you for that. I have been putting it into practice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you, Christopher, with Homecoming, that you'd love to go back. You go back year after year. And this year, it will actually drain you of energy to go. And you'll be saying yes in order to not upset people, not offend people. And it's not actually good for your soul, not good for what you want to create and for the impact you want to have in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. Should I share with you my list?
No, I'm going to play with you in a different way right now.
Okay, here we go.
I want to introduce you to a distinction I call 1 + 1 = 3.
Okay.
So right now you're looking for an assistant, and then it turned out actually it might be a business partner. What I'm always interested in is the 1 + 1 = 3. Nothing wrong with having a great assistant. Starting off having a great assistant allowed me to get the next person on my team and the next person, and I grew from there. Nothing wrong with having great business partners. They can help you to fly. 1 + 1 = 3 is really interesting for me. What that describes is, how can I be in my zone of genius, doing the things that only I can, and partner with someone else who's in their zone of genius, doing things that only they can, so that what we create is bigger than either of us could do on our own.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a distinction that's really had me, it's a filter. That's what it's been for me. It's been a filter for the last few months. I get lots of people who want to work with me, and that can be a 1 + 1 = 2. And there's nothing wrong with that. That can double the size of your business. 1 + 1 = 3 is an exponential way of looking at things. Who's the right person to really take us to the next level? That is not just like, oh, I'm hiring a web design team. I'm hiring a marketing expert. I'm hiring a person to help me buy the retreat center.
Mm-hmm.
It's a filter for something extraordinary. So what comes up as I introduce that to you?
I'm not sure. It's such a new concept. I'm thinking, can you create the question again in a different way?
Yeah. So I'll make it real. The only reason I'm hesitating is I've got a couple of business opportunities that I'm playing with are 1 + 1 = 3, and I don't want to speak them into the world too early yet. So I'm trying to think of an example that's real, that I can share. I talked to a friend of mine. All of them are too new. I don't want to. Sometimes it's not good to speak.
They're too close.
So you know what? I'm going to leave that as a seed for you, rather than trying to explain it in this moment. There's a seed there beyond. There's an assistant that you're looking for. Somebody taught me years ago, always hire assistants who are older than you. We tend to look for young assistants who'll do everything we say. And I've learned, no, I need assistants who can manage me. That's actually what I need.
Yeah.
I was looking for an assistant, my own strategic assistant in my team. And I was talking to Sarah, and I was trying to describe, I said, I want someone who's strong, who's not afraid to stand up to me, because I can be strong-willed, and they need to be, I don't want someone who just says yes to everything. I want someone who will say no, or you shouldn't do that, Rich, or will say no out to other people. And I said, you know what, someone like Wendy. And then I went, how about Wendy? And we went to Wendy, and long story short, Wendy's now, one of her roles is as my strategic assistant. So I'll throw that in as a seed around looking for an assistant. Who is there who's actually going to be stronger than you in that role, rather than what we traditionally look for is someone who's young, will do every task we say. The problem I found with assistants is they do every task that I say, and I don't actually know what should be done. I need someone who can say to me, that's not a task we should be doing right now, Rich.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm going to leave that as a seed of this idea of 1 + 1 = 3. Where is there someone who, if I partnered with them, it's more than 1 + 1 = 2? Great business partner will double your business.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's got such unique gifts that on their own do great stuff, but they put them with my own unique gifts, and they take us both to a level beyond our comprehension right now.
Okay. I get it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Shelley, let me come to you. Anything come up with that idea of 1 + 1 = 3?
I was having flashbacks to us talking about this recently, and I haven't totally cracked the code. I can use
just so you know, I've been studying this for 2 years myself, just watching for where the 1 + 1, and I've made 1 + 1 = 2 deals along the way.
Yeah.
I've created some products with the EverCoach team. I've done things, great ideas like that. They market my stuff, and we get some cool stuff out. Great things. Not the level I'm talking about. So you don't have to come up with an immediate answer. Really, for 2 years I've been sitting with this, and I'm still only just got some irons in the fire that things might begin to happen.
Yeah, you got me thinking a couple weeks ago when we first had this chat about, this one. I've got a number of collaborations on my list. What's really interesting is I'm attracting a lot of fascinating people. So connections both through 4PC and also connections that are happening outside of 4PC with people who are on very similar missions. And so I'm looking at all these and saying, is there an interesting model around, sort of this collaborative coaching and plugging into a number of different people? Like it's taking the idea of a tribe to a different level. We're all sort of you know, co-creating our work and our clients and our mission together. And so one of those examples, I think I shared with you this, a local, it's Chicago based right now, but I think will be worldwide in no time. It's a local, it's a women's co-working and sort of creative community, creating a women's community largely for entrepreneurs who want to, you know, meet each other, who have access to all kinds of programming, really cool stuff. And we're talking about now creating these higher level packages where for each of the members, you can buy into a package that says, we'll put you together with the resources that you need to accomplish your vision. And one of those could very well be a coach. And so I still have that in my head as something I want to work on, because I believe right now, the way I'm thinking about it, and I think we talked about this, is 1 + 1 = 2. But I just know, like, I have this feeling that won't leave me alone. It's like that nagging, that it's bigger than that. And so I've been focused a lot on thinking about that. And I'm actually meeting with them again tomorrow. So I was hoping maybe something would unlock for me on this call.
That's great. So 1 + 1 = 2 around there would be, there's someone who's got this amazing business idea and I've got some great business experience. Let's come together. We'll help each other. We'll grow this amazing business. 1 + 1 = 3 is you say, what's the thing that I do that's my zone of genius? Now, you were the chief marketing officer at Harley Davidson. But what I know from our work together is your actual zone of genius isn't in marketing. I mean, you're a great marketer compared to most people on the planet, but what made you unique is that you're fantastic at creating an amazing team of leaders. You're a great leader and you create great leaders to come and work with you. And it energizes you and excites you. And that's your zone of genius.
Yes.
So that's the magic you want to bring in, not let me do your marketing or let me partner together. How can, whether it's this project or something else, how do you bring in the thing that, and you know it's your zone of genius when you do it, it feels lazy. I don't do very much. I was talking to a friend this morning who's a serial entrepreneur, runs several multi-million-dollar companies, and he says, I don't do very much, Rich. All I do is ask myself one question: who? That's all he does. He says, like, who needs to do that? We're talking about a business project this morning. He went, I know. We're going to call her. She's going to come and do this. We're going to get him. He's going to come and do that. All he does all day is think, who? And he's grown many multi-million-dollar businesses by asking that one question. And he feels lazy. Like, I'm not doing very much. That's because it's his zone of genius. Look for your zone of genius and stay there and hold strong to that. When you partner with somebody else, you bring that, then you take something that can go to the next level.
Yeah, that made a lot of sense. And I think you nailed it accurately.
So I'm talking to everyone else who's watching right now. The silent nods that the two of them gave just now, which is like that, is not the wow of, oh, that's amazing. What a fantastic insight. It's the nod of recognition. There's something there. There's the tiniest seed of what will become an idea down the road. You see, it sounds fantastic. You think the sound of a great coaching session is wow or yippee. Actually, the sound of a great coaching session is this. Because is when someone's beginning to look at the world differently. And if you're not attached to making this session be amazing, but you have this depth of knowledge and understanding that over time, great stuff is coming, and you've sowed this tiniest of seeds, you'll find out what that looks like. And that was a moment there of, and we'll see, because we'll talk again. So this is great. We're gonna wrap up now, guys, and I'll show you how we do this, because it's an important way to wrap a coaching session, because you can leave at a moment like this, or you could be the one talking to end it, but actually it's powerful to have your client be the one who wraps. Look, if you love this, by the way, come and spend time with us. Come and join us in 4PC, where we get to do this all the time. We're both live and on Zoom calls like this. Sarah will post the link to 4PC, and come and join us at our intensive. We're here in LA in October in a few days. Come and join us, because there's a lot more of this live in the room. live on stage, really powerful coaching, really powerful tools. And we want to build our community of amazing coaches. So here's how I would end a coaching session. I'd ask the client, Christopher, what's the single biggest insight or one takeaway that you'll take away from this session today?
The 1 + 1 + 3. The 1 + 1 = 3.
Nice. Nice. And tell me what makes that the biggest insight for you today?
Well, because it makes me look at, well, it helps me to understand that in order to get to the next level, I have to be willing to stay in my lane and invite someone in who brings in a whole nother lane that could take my work exponential. That on my own, I can build 1 + 1 relationships. That's really easy for me. Yet a 1 + 3 relationship initially seems more risky because it means I'd be giving up. I mean, the part of me that's in survival feels like I would be giving up some aspect of myself. But the part of me that's in thriving heard the message. And the message is, I need someone who operates at the same level that I do in the exact opposite direction that I do. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I need.
Beautiful. I saw somebody, again, it flashed on the screen about the simplicity of this today. I like the simplicity on the other side of complexity. This wasn't a simple coaching session. This wasn't me just saying, hey, what do you want? There are some really simple questions. This was me going beyond complexity. There's a simplicity over here where a simple tool can have an amazing ripple effect into the future. The seed of an idea could be the thing that has you come back and go, oh, excuse my French, holy shit, who knew? Who knew? Thanks for sharing that, Christopher. How about you, Shelley? What's the one takeaway you have from today?
Well, I kind of, as I was listening to you guys talk, I had this lightning strike of a sort of formula, which is interesting for a non-numbers person to say, I suppose. But it just hit me that the best filter I could ever have for everything that's coming my way right now is a combination of three things that we just talked about. The first one is that sweet spot of coaching, connection, and adventure. The second one is my leadership zone of genius. And the third one would be, how do I put that all together and partner with the right people for 1 + 1 = 3, for that kind of exponential, that exponential vision, that exponential possibility. Those three things mashed together I hadn't really thought about before, but that makes a hell of a lot of sense to me in terms of what is really grounding my business and what I should be saying hell yes and hell no to. That feels good.
A filter is so powerful. It allows you to say yes, it allows you to say no, it allows you to have clarity, it allows you to know which conversations, which relationships to say yes to say no to say no for now to. And your filter's coming.
I needed that. That's awesome.
I love it. Here's the other thing about coaching, guys, for those of you who are watching, is that you don't have to be attached to what happens in the coaching session, because for me, it's over time. And what Shelley and Krista think is their takeaway in this moment, actually, we have no idea. And the next time we speak, we'll look back and you'll say, you know what, it turned out it wasn't that. I did the energy audit afterwards and I filled up the list of things that drain me of energy and I hadn't realized, but there's this one activity I do or one person or one thought that's recurring. And that was the one that when I shifted that, everything changed. And so I have no attachment to what comes as a result of this single coaching session. I have this absolute belief and trust that over time, that when I spend time with clients, when I coach clients over time, their world will transform. So I'm grateful to you guys. richlitvin.com/intensive is our URL if you want to come and join us and play in October. richlitvin.com/4PC is where you can find the rest of us, people who play like these guys. And then we've got our next webinar session, our next session like this on a creative life is on September the 13th. You guys are already registered. If you're watching, you're registered already. So come and join us here in LA. There's only 29 tickets left, I believe, and we'd love to see you. Shelley, Christopher, thank you so much. Sarah, thank you for doing the logistics behind the scenes. Guys, I'll see you in a few days on our next webinar. Thanks, guys.